Picture this, the Golden State Warriors, once again a force to be reckoned with in the NBA. But behind their resurgence lies more than just skill on the court. Enter Draymond Green, the catalyst of the Warriors' revival. His return signals a shift in the balance of power, leaving the rest of the league trembling in their sneakers. Much like the legendary duo of Stockton and Malone, Green and Curry's partnership isn't just about numbers. It's about chemistry, mutual understanding, and elevating each other's game to new heights. So if you're anyone other than the Warriors, buckle up, because the Dub Nation resurgence is upon us, and it's nothing short of terrifying. The Golden State Warriors are officially back. So if you're anyone other than the Warriors, I would be absolutely terrified. We can't talk about the Warriors being back without talking about the reason, Draymond Green. As we know, he's missed a fair share of games this season for doing loads of questionable things. And yeah, let's just leave it at that. And while he was out, the Warriors as a team were suffering. It was literally Steph versus the entire league. But now that he's back and seems to have his head on straight, the Warriors are finally heading in the right direction. And yes, the league should be worried. The first noticeable improvement that was the result of Draymond is the overall chemistry. In order for the team and themselves to play at higher levels, they need each other. Draymond and Steph kind of remind me of John Stockton and Karl Malone in a weird, odd way. I know that may be the most controversial statement all year, but understand, I'm only talking from a chemistry and importance standpoint. The partnership between Stockton and Malone was a harmonious blend of different and complementary styles. Stockton, the elite floor general, possessed unreal court vision, exceptional passing ability, and although it goes unnoticed, he was a great defensive player. And then on the other hand, Malone, known as the mailman, was a physical force with a scoring touch, dominating the paint with a modern-day level of post moves and an unparalleled work ethic. The essence of the Stockton-Malone connection lie in the seamless interchange of roles. Stockton's career is synonymous with his all-time NBA record for assists. Both Curry and Stockton were and are tremendous playmakers for others, just in different ways. Malone, the primary receiver of Stockton's elite passes, would convert those assists into points with remarkable efficiency. Stockton's court vision and passing wizardry provided Malone with countless opportunities to showcase his ability to get buckets down low. The pick and roll, a staple of the Jazz's offensive playbook, became a devastating weapon, with Stockton threading the needle to Malone, who would finish emphatically around the rim. The duo's chemistry on the court was built on a foundation of mutual understanding and an unspoken connection that was the start of the dominant duos before the likes of Shaq and Kobe. While Stockton and Malone were individually exceptional players, their true greatness emerged when their skills complemented each other on the court. Like Steph and Dre, they needed each other. Stockton's ability to stretch defenses with his shooting and penetration into the paint created openings for Malone, allowing him to exploit mismatches and capitalize on scoring opportunities. Conversely, Malone's presence in the post and his ability to draw double teams created open looks for Stockton on the perimeter, so it worked both ways. The symbiotic relationship between the two was not just about the numbers they would put up, it was about elevating each other's games, doing things that they couldn't have done without one another. The Stockton-Malone era in Utah was marked by sustained success, with numerous playoff appearances and deep runs into the postseason. However, it is important to note that they never won a championship, which is obviously the biggest drawback from my comparison between Dre and Steph and John and Malone. In 1997 and 1998, the Jazz reached the NBA Finals, only to face Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls in back-to-back years. Despite their incredible efforts, they fell short, with the championship trophy slipping through their fingers. My point is, they can't win without each other. I know that there's this narrative created by casual fans that Draymond got carried by Steph, which is the dumbest take I think I've ever heard in my entire life. It's literally been proven hundreds of times that Steph plays significantly better with Draymond on the floor, so that narrative should not exist. And it's even more evident this season since Green has been back. Prior to January 27th, the Warriors played at a pace of 99.7 possessions per game, which was 13th in the league. Since Green has returned, it's now around 102.4, fifth in the NBA. From a pace standpoint, Draymond is killing it. We all know that at their peak, the Warriors were the most dangerous transition team maybe ever. And usually when you're that dominant in transition, it's because you have a monster like LeBron or Giannis on your team. But that wasn't the case for Golden State. It was all because of the two greatest shooters ever out on the wings running to their spots. Just think about this. Without Draymond, when Steph gets the ball and has to bring the ball up the court, that eliminates a huge, and I mean huge, scoring threat. We all know Steph is more dangerous without the ball than he is with it. Just his gravity alone when sprinting down in transition along the sidelines could open up other passes to teammates cutting to the basket. So again, when Steph is bringing it up, it eliminates that threat and forces Golden State to slow down, which makes them a little easier to contain. But now that Draymond is back, it's a whole different ballgame. Once Draymond gets the rebound, he immediately gets those eyes up and looks for his point guard. Sometimes Steph's off-ball transition gravity is so large that the defense forgets to pick up Draymond and allows him to drive it from one end to the other. But of course, their chemistry is still more than lethal in half-court settings. He knows Steph may be better than Steph knows himself on the basketball court. He knows where and when Steph wants the ball. He knows when Steph cuts, and also he understands from an IQ perspective why Steph runs to where he runs to. This understanding of the game from these two is something that literally can't be replicated with anyone else. You could pair Steph with Jokic, Sabonis, or whatever elite passing big you want, and it still won't be the same. It takes years and years of practice and game reps in high-stake games like the NBA Finals. Defensively, do I even have to say how important he is on that end? The Warriors went from one of the worst defenses in the NBA without him to a borderline top 5 defense since he's been back. It's just insane. His defense is another reason why the whole Draymond got carried narrative is BS. How on earth did Steph quote-unquote carry a Defensive Player of the Year winner? You could just as easily say Draymond carried Steph on defense. I hope you see just how ridiculous that narrative is. In an era where offensive firepower and perimeter scoring dominates headlines, Draymond Green's defensive versatility stands out as a rarity. As the NBA continues to evolve, the emphasis on switching, positional flexibility, and a collective defensive mindset becomes increasingly critical. Green's ability to guard positions 1 through 5 aligns with the demands of modern basketball, and his teammates recognize the strategic advantage it provides. The Warriors' defensive success, both past and present, is inseparable from Draymond Green's influence. Draymond is just a very valuable player when he's on the floor. But let's show Steph some love too. The former MVP is averaging 27, 4, and 5 while shooting a crazy 41% from 3 on 11 attempts per game. He's been in and out of a slump here as of late, but I'm pretty confident things will get back to normal soon. If they want to maximize their chances of getting a title, he has to be flawless in every way possible. But so does his splash bro too, Klay Thompson. Klay is shooting a scorching hot 44% from 3 over his last 7 games. He has finally found his groove again as a shooter, and it's beautiful for us to see as fans, but terrifying for his opponents. Over the last 7, he's averaging nearly 20 a game. Everything just seems to be falling for him. One reason is because of Draymond. That same chemistry he has with Steph, he shares that same on-court chemistry with Klay as well. It must be so nice having a great facilitator like Dre who prioritizes in getting you the ball out on the perimeter. Recently on his podcast, he said this after falling short to the Nuggets, despite Klay having a good game. Klay came off the bench firing in the first half, and I gotta do a better job of making sure he gets more touches in the second half. Although our minutes don't match up as much as they did before, it's still my role on this team to make sure that he is getting more shots in the second half. In order for Klay to keep up this level of consistency, he has to put up more shots, and Green is fully aware of that. No matter how many minutes they spend on the floor together, they have to all click together in order to see great success. Nobody is thinking they're the same big 3 from 2016, but that's why they have other teammates who can help carry some of the load. Andrew Wiggins, who has had a down year, has been on the rise again. Over his last 7 games, he's averaging 15 points while shooting 53% from the field and 47% from 3, which is incredible. Now, can he keep shooting 47% from 3 and 53 from the field? No, but hopefully this stretch can turn around a season and get him back in the groove. He's shooting an average of 35% from 3 on the season after shooting nearly 40% the last 2 seasons. So if he can get back to that, it would help a lot. And he has to continue to be stellar on defense. If not, Jonathan Kuminga can definitely take over most of his responsibilities. Kuminga has been good defensively and is putting up 15 per game solely off of transition buckets, cutting off the ball, and hitting the occasional mid-range. He could be the X factor, but if he and Wiggins can play as well as they have been as of late into the postseason, that could be the difference between them making it far or the complete opposite. Also, I can't stress enough how important of a glue guy Brandon Podziemski has been. Shooting 37% from 3 while also being an above-average team defender who hustles and scraps for every loose ball is something a championship coach like Steve Kerr loves to see, and that is why he's been starting. All in all, Golden State has been firing on all cylinders, so if I were you, I wouldn't count them out just yet. They have something to prove. And one man I wouldn't bet against is the first unanimous MVP, Steph Curry. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.